everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mrs. Danielle DeVita. To learn more about me and what I do, you are able to go to mrsdanielledevita.com. I am a relationship and femininity coach. If this is your first time, welcome. Please hit the like button and subscribe. If you are returning, thanks for listening to my content. Today, I am going to be up and close and personal because I will be talking about intimacy and foreplay. I did a video maybe about a year ago or about 8 months ago, I don't know. And the video was about how to increase intimacy in your marriage. A lot of times people will say, which and sometimes it's true, that when you're married, you're less likely to have um, sex, or if you were having sex prior to marriage, the same amount of sex that you were before. So your rate of intimacy has decreased. A lot of things go into play with that. And um, so the first thing would be, one, you may be having a strained relationship, and that strain could be due to financial means. Sometimes when a guy is not making the adequate money that he wants, or he's struggling, or the woman feels like she's in a struggle love, and she's with him surviving, trying to make keep the head above waters, you're less likely going to want to have a higher libido, or you're less likely have a higher libido, and you're less likely to want to be intimate with the person. The other thing could be, stress from the relationship. You guys are arguing a lot, you're disagreeing a lot, and people tend to distance themselves when they are in disagreement rather than come close. Some people can do it. Some people can compartmentalize. They can, still do it and still be mad at each other. But some people are emotional beings in that sense, where if they're not in agreement with they're not going to be touching you. You guys are going to be less distant, or you're going to be more distant and less likely to engage in touching and intimacy. The other thing would be, there is um, a autopilot type relationship. And what I mean by that is, because unlike when you're dating, you don't see each other all the time. You see each other on weekends. But when you're married, you see each other day in and day out. You've seen each other at your best, your worst. Even when you dress, your best, your worst. You've seen them with makeup on, without it. You have children together. You wake up, you do this, and you come home, you cook, you go to bed. Like, it's the same thing over and over. So people kind of tend to go on autopilot, and the spontaneity is not there. Everything becomes more of a chore, a duty, rather than something new and different every day. So you're tired more, you're exhausted, and you can't, or you feel like you can't put that extra intimacy on a relationship after the hustle and bustle of the day and work and so much. So I've been married for 12 years, and I would say our relationship would not fit into the we don't have sex often, or we have sex once a week type thing. It doesn't fit into that. We I would say it's often. And it's hard. Every relationship is different, because what's good for you could be once or twice a week. What's good for some people could be 3 to 4 times a week. And what's good for others can be daily, or just about daily, of course, outside of a woman's monthly time period. And some women are just like 4 days. So you're still getting it in throughout the week, right? So if you say, well, how do you do this often? How do you do this every day, or 4 times a week, or 3 times a week? How do you get this in? So again, I've been married for 12 years. So my husband, I'll bring him on because I said I was going to have us talk. I wanted to have male input, but he's always been so busy. So I haven't been able to get him on the show again, but he is going to make time to come on and we can talk about some of these things. But We have three children. We have three young children, very young, toddler, baby age, and we have a young child. So we have three children, um, and we make it work. And I would say there are three ways that you can make it work. And of course, it all is under foreplay. So there's physical foreplay, and we're not talking about the immediate right before it foreplay. We're talking about it's a foreplay that starts early in the day, early in the morning. And I think that's the best way for people who've been married, especially those who've been married a long time, because sometimes you're busy and you don't have time for this long foreplay right before you do it. So the best kind of foreplay is I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. The first kind is touching. You know how when you were dating, every time you laughed, you you touched his chest. Every time you spoke, you rubbed his arm. Every time you sat next to him, you touched his thigh or his knee, or you sat in his lap. You approached him by touching his back or giving him a kiss, rubbing his arm, put your hand on his elbow. Keep doing those things. That is the best kind of foreplay when you're handsy, because one, if you smell good, you feel good, like you're soft, you have soft skin, you're looking good. Like right now, I have on a t-shirt and sweats. You know, you can wear fitted sweats, you know, those sweats that they have on Amazon and stuff like that. When you wear those things that he finds attractive, that hugs different parts of your body, you're up close to him, you smell good, you feel good, and then you touch him, it's going to create the emotion, the want for intimacy. At least on a man's point of view, he's gonna be like, okay, you smell good, okay, you up close, you touching me. Now, you can only do those things like in the morning, in the evening, if you guys are working. You're not going to be able to do it all day. So the other part would be the verbal foreplay. Some people send pictures and videos. You never know who can get their hands on those things when you send teaser pictures. Um, I'm saying from experience, you want to make sure you don't send pictures and videos. What you want is to like call during his lunch or on his way to work, on his way home, and be like, hey, you on the way home? I got a little something, something for you. Kind of like, dirty talk, right? So those are teasers, all types of teasers to kind of get them ready for what's coming later on throughout the day. The other thing would be, I think I forgot to mention with touching is, like when they're cooking or when they're in the kitchen or when they're doing something, you can come behind them, give them a hug. All those things are part of the touching part. And like I said, the teaser is like you verbalizing what you're going to do, what giving that person something to look forward to. The other kind of foreplay is when you're cooking, you dress in lingerie or limited attire, right? If you can do dances, like striptease, things like that. Those are things maybe more closer to the time. One of the best kind is cooking. This is the best kind of foreplay for any age and no matter how conservative you are. I can tell you, I believe it works. I believe it really gets you ready for the big O-ism. And that would be unless you're allergic to brownies like chocolate or fudge, I would make some brownies. And you know how when you put the brownies in the oven and you have like your batter in the bowl, the mix, whatever's left over from when you made it. So have like just a little bit over where you can like, you know how people taste the batter. I would have some, and it can get sticky, so I wouldn't put it everywhere, but you can put some here, but put some on your lips and be like, hey, come taste this batter. And they're going to taste it and imagine where that will go. If you want something over your body, it would be more whipped cream because it's less likely to get sticky depending on where you put the whipped cream and if hands are involved, right? And you don't want your body to be sticky everywhere. So if you do the brownie hot, like the fudge brownie, try to stick with something up here where you're okay with it sticky here, or if you just don't like stickiness at all, but just put it on your lips and ask them to taste the batter off your lips and see where it goes. I think that's a surefire way to get it, get both of you to that O, because one is going to be good and he's going to be kissing you a certain kind of way, and you're going to be receiving that kind of kiss, and it's gonna give you that type of moment, that spontaneity if you were missing, if things were boring in your relationship in that department, in the intimacy department. It'll give a little something different. And then of course, for those who like food, you can add other, you know, food things, grapes or something, and they can eat it off of you. But I think this would be a good way to increase um, the intimacy in your relationship. Again, there, like I said, I think foreplay is one of those things that are more long foreplay, not the one that's immediately before the wham bam, thank you, ma'am. The last form of getting you out of your rut is to have quickies. Um, a lot of times people are waiting for this big moment at night when the kids are asleep, when the lights are out, and then you're like scheduling this, 1 hour time period. But I think it's more spontaneous if you do random quickies. If you can't make it random, and I'll say random, like one day you do it in the morning, the next day it's in the afternoon, the next is in the evening, but before, it's like right when you get off of work, but before you like cook and get ready for bed and stuff. So it's more like you wake up and it's like, you got 10 minutes before you go to work. I mean, imagine the spontaneity in that, and then going to work all happy, right? If it's afternoon, you guys see each other for lunch or whatever, you can do that. Another time would be, like I said, as soon as they get home, you'd be like, oh, okay, what's taking you so long to get home? I got a little something for you. And boom, you get a quickie of 10, 15 minutes. Some people's 5 or something like that. And then you can go and cook and do whatever. And you guys are kind of good. And then try the brownies at night for desserts just for you guys. And then, because that quickie is just a quickie, but then you get the main course or the dessert later where it can like piggyback off of what you guys had earlier. And then it would, then you can have that hour time that you need for each other. So again, that's all I wanted to do, go over that with you. Go over, ways to increase your intimacy in a relationship. If you feel like your relationship was boring or you weren't doing it enough, you don't know any new positions and things like that, this can kind of at least take away some of the boring feelings. You can go online and look up positions, but this will kind of bring back the intimacy in your relationship, bring back a little pizzazz into it. And then from there, you guys can figure out what works for you guys. I think you're more likely to have the more pleasurable moments when you do the brownie thing, because it's the kind of foreplay that anything with food is the kind of foreplay that brings a little bit of different, like it's not boring, because boring is just, there's no food involved, there's no, for some people, toys. I don't think you need toys if you can do that, but it's different because there is not just straight to the wham bam. It's more of, you're having to use your mouth to get the food off people. You have to, you're going to have the giggles and the laughs, the different moments of feelings. And I think that would make the boring or the boring part of it, or the conservative people, to be a little bit more relaxed. and open you up to new ideas to see what you do like. Because sometimes people go straight to positions as this is the only way to show that we're different, but you can incorporate different food uh, themes, I guess, for people who like to dress up, that can do that. But if you're not into all of the toys and the dressing up, that will be a good way to add a little bit of pizzazz and something different to just the straight wham bam. You know, that's all I have for you. I just wanted to go over that because a lot of people think like, well, once you have kids, once you've been married for a long time, you're never going to be able to have that on a consistent basis. And you can't. You just need to use the foreplay, the different ways that I've mentioned to you. All right. Thanks for tuning in to Mrs. Danielle DeVita. Take care.